separates me from everybody else is my mental, my work ethic, my risk-taking, punching when people say I shouldn't, not moving when people think that I should.
The best pound-for-pound fighters in the world are almost always the guys with the fastest processing, the fastest thinking. And Crawford is that guy right now.
I'm still sharpening my tools, but at the same time, I'm learning on the job as well. I don't never want to feel like I'm done learning.
His mind is the strongest weapon. Like he's one of the smartest fighters of all time. His boxing IQ, that's what wins you fights. You know, the physical is the easy part, the mental is the hard part, and he has mastered that mental. He's been like that since a kid.
Here we go.
Sharpen them tools. Yeah. Sharpen them tools, bud. Double-edged sword.
Here we go.
We're gonna cut him up like a steak.
He has a toolbox full of tools. And it's just about using the right tool at the right time.
We're getting there. We can fight tomorrow, but we still got a little more sharpening to do. Then we're gonna be ready. So we taking it how it come, one day at a time. Can't rush greatness.
You know, and if you look at his career, mention one elite fighter.
Because he could be avoided by the top name brand fighters, and also because he happened to come along at a time when there weren't a lot of name brand fighters in his division.
Oh, you haven't fought anybody. Nobody know who you fought. You know exactly who I fought. You a fighter, you know. So why would you go out there and try to diminish the guys that I fought because you hear the media say that? None of that matters because I'm here now.
I don't know, but I don't give a fuck, dude. So I feel I'm the best, and that's it. I don't focus on if the people say or put me in the first position. I'm the best. I feel I'm the best. I'm doing because I love it.
Canelo's statements reflect the spirit of a champion walking into the fire on September 13th. His belief remains unbreakable. He enters certain that victory over Crawford is within reach beneath the bright lights. Even Dmitry, Bivol coach and Israel Madamov's trainer Joel Diaz shared honest views on the matchup. Diaz remarked Canelo should come out on top. I predict Canelo defeating Crawford with a clear decision. There's absolutely no scenario where Crawford surpasses Canelo. For Diaz, the conclusion feels predetermined, as if Canelo's arm is meant to be lifted. His remarks carried authority from someone who's witnessed Canelo directly, understanding both his powers and boundaries. He described Crawford's weapons as ineffective against Canelo's shield. The contest, he suggested, won't depend on risks. It will depend on levels, and to him, Canelo's level is unreachable. Diaz then turned from combat to boxing overall, elevating the implications far beyond two rivals clashing. He explained, Canelo is the ruler of boxing, and financially, Canelo cannot fail. If Canelo falls, boxing's reputation takes a heavy blow. But to be clear, Crawford is among my favorite boxers and pound for pound the best today. Diaz placed Canelo high, portraying him as guardian of boxing's dignity. Defeat, he warned, would extend further than one evening. It would wound the entire sport. His words gave this bout deeper meaning, where careers and honor stand in danger. Crawford still gained admiration, celebrated as the greatest of his time. Yet with that recognition, Diaz's certainty remained firm. Canelo, he declared, will not fall. Tom Loeffler, once Gennady Golovkin's promoter, introduced the stage with opening views. He spoke with the thrill of someone aware when a fight becomes truly historic. To the show,
I mean, nothing more needs to be said about Canelo Crawford, two icons fighting each other. But when you have two young guys that are undefeated, both big knockout records that aren't going to run, Both very confident. They wouldn't have taken the fight if they didn't think they were going to win. And it couldn't be on a bigger stage than the co-feature at Allegiant Stadium on Netflix. So we're really excited about it. This is the type of fight that Dana was saying that, the fights need to happen at the right time, not, 5 years past the due date. And, like His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh was saying, this is definitely not a Tom and Jerry type of fight. These guys are going to come out there and bang, and I think the crowd is going to love this fight.
For Loeffler, this is far more than another boxing spectacle. It's two titans meeting on the grandest stage imaginable. His remarks carried the excitement of a clash arriving at the perfect moment, neither too soon nor too delayed. He illustrated an image of fighters both fearless and determined to risk everything for victory. The passion in his delivery made it's certain that spectators are set for an experience impossible to forget. From his perspective, fans should prepare for nothing less than explosive fireworks. Loeffler then turned attention to Canelo's present condition, observing the evolution across time, yet never diminishing the danger he represents.
Canelo has definitely slowed down since those fights, but even with that, he's still a tremendous force in boxing. Big body puncher, physically very strong, great timing as a counter puncher. So you can't take anything away from Canelo, and Crawford has one of the best boxing IQs in the ring. So it's a great matchup. It's one of those fantasy matchups that people always talk about, and they were able to make it happen for this show here, and I'm really looking forward to
He reminded audiences that despite age advancing, Canelo continues to be a monster inside the ropes. His strength, precision, and timing make him threatening every single moment of battle. Yet he also acknowledged Crawford's brilliance, highlighting his extraordinary ring intelligence. By lifting both fighters onto a pedestal, Loeffler gave the showdown the feeling of a dream encounter. His statements carried the impression that spectators are about to experience something beyond history itself. It feels like imagination brought to life. He expanded further, analyzing the stylistic contrast between Canelo and Crawford, stressing their abilities in the most technical and refined way.
I don't want to take anything away from Canelo because Crawford has a really high ring IQ, but so does Canelo. Canelo's more of a counterpuncher. He sets traps. Crawford, I have to give, with his boxing ability, his hand speed, his foot speed. Canelo physically, I would say, is a little bit stronger. He can kind of impose his will on it. It's such a great matchup. I wouldn't be surprised if either one were to win.
Loeffler displayed his sharp vision for boxing, explaining how both warriors bring contrasting yet equally lethal tools. He emphasized Canelo's skill to corner opponents and respond with ruthless accuracy. At the same time, he credited Crawford's quickness, agility, and intelligence as the ideal counterbalance. The fairness in his remarks produced an atmosphere of unpredictability. Either fighter has the ability to dismantle the other. It delivered the idea that this isn't a one-sided narrative, but rather a razor-thin war. The dialogue eventually shifted toward experience, where Loeffler stressed the value of major stage contests in building a true champion.
On this big stage before, I think people kind of dismiss him a little bit with that last performance that he had over there in Riyadh. But when you have an opponent like John Skull who's not going to engage, it's really hard to look good against someone like that. So I would give the edge to Canelo because he's been in that position.
He argued that Canelo's history beneath the brightest spotlights grants him the advantage. While some critics may question Canelo due to recent outings, Loeffler strongly disagreed with certainty. He reminded supporters that it's never easy to shine against challengers unwilling to exchange. His comments implied Crawford could encounter a completely different Canelo, one determined to silence every doubter. This created suspense, framing the clash as experience against ambition. From there, Loeffler addressed one of the sport's most heated discussions: weight, and the way it could, or perhaps could not, determine the final result of this encounter.
I don't think the weight is as big as a lot of people are saying because Crawford probably walks around at that weight. Probably only has to drop a couple pounds, but he's the type of guy that can easily put on the muscle and the mass and and use his hand speed, his foot speed to box. So I just think that if Canelo is able to impose his will and throw the body shots and throw some counter punches, I could see him, edging out a win on that.
I personally don't believe weight is as significant as many suggest because Crawford likely walks close to that limit. He probably only needs to shed a few pounds. Yet he's the kind of fighter who can quickly build muscle, gain mass, and rely on his hand speed and footwork to outbox opponents. Still, my view is that if Canelo manages to enforce his will, target the body, and land sharp counters, I can imagine him, narrowly securing a victory when the spotlight shines bright on that night.
The body punches, he's got some great, either a counter punch to the head or he's got some great left hooks to the body that really are effective. So he can easily wear you down. So that I think that's what Crawford has to look out for is those tricky body shots that Canelo.
His perspective sliced through the chatter, arguing that weight is not the hurdle many assume it to be. Crawford, he suggested, has long carried that frame, meaning the adjustment won't overwhelm his body. The attention instead shifts to how he might exploit speed and technique against Canelo's raw strength. Loeffler pictured a contest where counters and bodywork could determine the outcome. His remarks emphasized that whichever fighter enforces their approach will command the night. Loeffler then highlighted one dangerous weapon capable of altering the battle's direction, Canelo's punishing assault to the body.
I would agree with that. Crawford has to be really careful with those body shots. He definitely can't get lured into a firefight. He's going to lose. If it's a back and forth type of situation, that's not where Crawford wants to be. He wants to stay on the outside, use his his speed, his skills, and really, I see him boxing Canelo. Now, if he hurts Canelo, then he can go there and start going toe-to-toe. But, Canelo's the type of guy you don't want to stand in front of that guy because he really can start to pick.
He spoke about those trademark punches that don't just sting, but wear opponents down with each passing round. The way he framed it, Canelo's left hook to the body is beyond a strike. It's a difference maker. Against Crawford, such shots could gradually drain quickness and rhythm until clear chances appear. Loeffler's tone suggested Crawford cannot afford to absorb those blows directly. The tension increased, leaving audiences questioning whether even a mastermind like Crawford can withstand that damage. Loeffler then shifted toward strategy, explaining the hazardous traps Crawford absolutely needs to avoid.
He's one of the best fighters for more fun. No, he accomplished a lot of things too. Mexican with the American fighter is always
cautioned that trading fire with Canelo could prove disastrous, stripping Crawford of his greatest assets. Remaining at range, relying on speed and intellect, may represent his only real path. Loeffler's analysis came across less as opinion and more as a blueprint for survival. The way he put it, Crawford must deliver a flawless performance to prevail. And still, the constant danger of Canelo's power hangs like a shadow over each frame. At the same time, Canelo himself remains certain of his supremacy, speaking proudly about the importance of these defining moments.
fight, you need both fighters. Boxing is you throw, you get in there and move your waist, move around a little bit, but throw punches, get in there. That's boxing. But when you have one fighter like we saw with the skull, like running and running, that's not that kind of fight you want, right? And it's very difficult to close the waist and everything. You close him, he jump right away. It's very difficult. What kind of style?
His remarks carried steady assurance, the type that comes only from a fighter who has conquered everything. He reminded audiences that these collisions of nations and styles are what define boxing's legend. The way he expressed it, the platform stands taller than titles. It's about heritage and honor colliding. His tone revealed not just admiration for the craft, but for the rival across from him, and with that, anticipation for the battle only intensified. Then came a word of warning as Canelo admitted, "This fight will stretch limits in ways unseen before." He added, "It's going to be different for him, different in every aspect." We'll see. We'll see how he manages it. There was mystery in his phrasing, as though he understood the path ahead would hold many surprises. His voice made it clear that each instant in the ring could feel brand new. Even for a champion, that unpredictability layered the tale with more tension. What falters first, composure or technique? It emphasized that no contest is ordinary at this height, and with it, the sense of risk only deepened. Canelo then turned sharp, calling out the kind of battle no one hopes to see, and the kind fans will always remember.
I hope not. I think Crawford is not that kind of fighter. He's a different. He box, and I like.
He spoke about the frustration of meeting rivals who evade, spoil, and strip boxing of its true spirit. In his tone was hunger for a genuine battle, where punches exchange, risks are embraced, and the audience erupts loud. It sounded like more than simple criticism. It felt like a vow that this contest will not become another boring chess match. He demanded drama, recognizing that boxing survives and thrives through action. His outlook was firm. This showdown must entertain. Yet with all that fire, Canelo also showed belief that Crawford is built on another level.
Motivate and discipline. So together is big and it's very different mentality. You know, I was the same mentality with William School, but I was in another country and this and that, very different. But this is different. You can feel it right away, and you know how big is this, how important is this for me.
Showed admiration by insisting Crawford won't be the type to run, avoid, or deprive supporters of a true spectacle. His remarks hinted at a collision destined to unfold in the trenches, not while retreating. That respect carried weight, as if he believed Crawford held too much pride to fight cautiously. It built suspense, because when two men refuse to yield, violence becomes inevitable. The audience, he implied, will receive exactly what they desire. From there, Canelo spoke further, discussing discipline, motivation, and the mentality needed to preserve legacy.
Training, obviously, but I won't like that. I'm special. That's what I know. I knew this since I started.
You could sense the gravity in his delivery. This isn't simply another payday contest. It's a career-defining stage. He spoke as though the stakes surpassed championships, reaching into his pride and very identity. The reference to legacy placed the fight under an almost timeless shadow. For Canelo, it's not only about victory. It's about validating his position among boxing's elite hierarchy. Each statement elevated the clash into something greater than life itself. Canelo then turned inward, reminding everyone of the truth he already carries deep within.
We need to be very focused and be careful. Anybody can carry, right? But if you're smart and you know how to box and everything.
It was pure conviction, the type that makes champions unshakable. Even when doubters surround, his confidence never felt forced. It felt natural, as though greatness had always been his reality. There was steel in his tone, a warning that he carries zero doubt about his individuality. For supporters, it was chilling yet inspiring to hear a fighter declare himself extraordinary. And when Canelo talks that way, belief almost feels automatic. Shortly after, he delivered a pointed caution, honoring Crawford's skill, but stressing clearly that he interprets the threat in a different manner.
I don't know, we'll see. But what I know is he's a good fighter, very smart fighter, and very disciplined. He needs to get credit for that. But I am...
His remarks suggested a fighter not blind to danger, yet unwilling to be rattled by it. He reminded everyone that ability alone cannot overcome someone who understands how to think and adjust. It offered a glimpse of Canelo's steady mindset, where composure outweighs fear. He recognized Crawford's qualities but remained firm. That strategy and patience are his protection. Within that balance, the suspense surrounding the contest only grew deeper. Canelo concluded with respect, granting Crawford his due while ensuring his own presence remained equally strong.
He's the best fighter in the planet, in my opinion. He's just so disciplined and dedicated, and I feel like he will beat Canelo. I think he'll win on points, and I think he'll be it'll be a good shot-out win, to be fair, and I feel like he's the best in this generation.
He spoke with sincerity, describing Crawford as intelligent, disciplined, and deserving of admiration. Yet at the same moment, he reminded listeners that he possesses those identical traits as well. The mixture of respect and belief made the showdown feel even more dangerous. It was as if two mirrors prepared to clash, each reflecting greatness back toward the other. That conclusion left a single thought lingering. Something monumental is about to unfold, but not everyone accepts the notion of Canelo leaving victorious. Abdul Khan, who has sparred alongside Terence Crawford, offered a completely different viewpoint.
Crawford has the experience. Crawford has the know-how, the willpower, the mind, the IQ, which we keep saying that, but I don't want to understate that. The IQ, you know what I mean? Different strokes for different folks. He knows how to take the best away from each opponent that he's had, and that's a testament to his IQ and to his boxing.
Perspective came not from afar, but from standing against Crawford's speed, precision, and craft. That direct exposure gave strength to his comments, lending authority to his opinion. He spoke with assurance, calling Crawford's discipline and sharpness unmatched. The tone carried conviction, painting Crawford as a fighter destined to rise above. For Khan, this is not imagination. He insists Crawford's greatness will be confirmed inside the ropes. Meanwhile, Crawford's trainer Bernie started by explaining what truly sets his fighter apart: his intellect. He emphasized the invisible weapon that secures victories before punches are even thrown.
Like I said, you know, Crawford had already made it up in his mind. He had already seen the victory. He already seen what he had to do. He's working and getting in shape. He's in shape to execute his game plan. You know, we definitely went over a couple of things which Canelo brings to the table to watch out for. But other than that, you know, he knows how to make adjustments on the fly. He knows how to do what he does, do what it takes to win. You know what I'm saying? So that's what Crawford brings to the table. He knows how to do whatever it takes to win, and that's what we're banking on. That's what we bank.
The way he described it gave Crawford's ring intelligence the presence of a weapon sharper than any strike. He stressed how Crawford examines rivals, strips away their strongest assets, and forces them into his rhythm. It wasn't exaggeration. It was measured analysis from someone who has seen him dismantle opponents repeatedly. His tone made it clear that intellect can surpass sheer force. And through his words, Crawford already appeared 2 moves ahead of Canelo. Bernie then leaned into the psychological battle, declaring that Crawford already carries victory within his thoughts. For him, preparation exceeds training. It is belief transformed into reality.
I think the same way for him too. You know, it's almost like I say, he was on his Mayweather tour. You know what I mean? Where he's on autopilot. You know, he didn't have nobody to really test him and really get up for after Triple G the second time. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have that nothing to really to prove the people wrong against. You know what I mean? He didn't have that opponent. So, you know, this time, you know, he's going to try to save his reputation. He know he's going there with a speedier guy. He's going there with a dog. You know what I mean? Like I said, when you look in Crawford's eyes, you know, like he say, I'm different. I'm coming to win. Those guys didn't come to win. And I feel like even if Crawford, like I say, you got to be cautious if you get caught with a hard punch, but Crawford knows how to take that away from him. And that's not going to take nothing away from Crawford. Crawford's not going to shrink because he get caught with a good punch. He's still going to go there to win. It's the whole object is to win. However we got to do it, he's going to win. He's going to get his hand raised. That's what's going to happen. And if it get froggy in there, Crawford is coming. That's it. That's how Crawford is. You never seen Crawford.
You could sense the conviction as he described Crawford preparing not merely to compete, but to prevail. His belief wasn't reckless. It stemmed from adjustments, discipline, and an ability to adapt instantly. Bernie reminded audiences that Crawford has perfected the craft of doing whatever is required to triumph. The message was straightforward. When confronting Crawford, you face a man unwilling to embrace defeat. His statements carried the certainty of one who already envisions the ending. Bernie illustrated the picture of Canelo's path, hinting that this time the obstacle will differ from anything encountered. Crawford, he cautioned, is arriving with a unique form of hunger.